Yo, 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 yo. All right. So listen, I forgot I had something tonight from 9 till 10:45. Um, if you are up, I will come back. Actually, I'll probably leave at like 10 to the after my event at 10. Come back here, probably get something going for like 10:30, 10:45. So listen, I have a couple things that I want to talk about here. All right. So um the first thing is going to be Square. Now, I'm not looking at something specifically for tomorrow, right? I'm looking at some kind of a setup for the next couple of days and also potentially week, also potentially month. Now, yes, right now across all time frames, this is currently bearish. Okay. Couple things that you need to know. Earnings is coming up towards the end of February, so you might start to see a run up um, over in the next couple of weeks. Okay, here's why. If you look at if you look at the larger time frames right now, it's bearish. But if you look at, for example, the weekly, right, this is not a reversal. This is potentially right now a retracement. It does not become an official reversal until it takes out these lows. All right. So if you were to draw the fibs, I think we are just getting to we're just approaching the 50% fib. Shout out to Biker again for teaching that. Um, so what we're seeing is potentially, again, look at what it does around 60, right? If you see it dips below 60 and then starts to hammer off of that on the weekly, not on the weekly, I'm sorry. If you see that on the daily, right, mark this out and like make it show on the lower time frames, right? See what it does around that time, right? So far, what we have done on the daily is we have created a broadening formation right there. Okay. We've made a lower low. Now, does that mean tomorrow we're not gonna go lower? No, that doesn't mean that. But you should know that at least on the daily and also on the weekly, we're in the territory of creating a lower low. So we're in the territory of exhaustion risk, and we could potentially bounce back up. All right. Now, again, we could go lower, but you got to know where we could potentially bounce. Halfway mark is around 60. So if we bounce off of that, we can see the retracement and the potential TTO back to the upside, which would be I mean, obviously, it's not going to happen this month, but this would still be the mark above 80, and that's where we would TTO on the weekly, or at least a nice little run up, because you do have some liquidity voids along the way. One being this fair value gap. Sorry, I don't know why my mouse is sticking, but one being this fair value gap. Let me just show you real quick. From here, damn, why is my mouse sticking? Sorry. From there to there, right? That's a fair value gap. All right. So if it does retrace back into that, it could invalidate off of that, keep going lower. Then you'll know, okay, obviously, the Bears are going to be in control, so it's going to keep pushing down, and more than likely take this 50% fib and probably push down lower to possibly OTE levels, or we can come back and take out the 50%, maybe stall there, or we just take out the whole entire fair value gap and keep pushing it back to the top. All right, so just keep that in mind. That is Square. Again, right now, the larger time frames are telling us bearishness. Couple reasons why I think we could just be a retracement, because we have a stacked order block and a fair value gap on the monthly. So what you could be seeing is a dip into, I can't remember what the specific setup is called ICT wise, but you're seeing a dip in there, and then you can see potentially again the reversal back to the upside. So I would say pay attention to these last couple of days before the month closes, because you may potentially see some wicking on the monthly from the downside. Hence the wicking over here that we're seeing on the 4-hour. We have an inside actionable signal on the 4-hour. We have a hammer on the daily as well too. Again, I know the other time frames look bearish, but we may potentially see maybe a relief run up, or this could be, the reversal, right? Price came back down to an area that maybe, maybe the algos want to start buying it back up again. That is Square. Now, taking a look at BA. Actually, let me just open this. I'm gonna go back here, because I know that I'm just picking out tickers that I know like a lot of you guys have been looking at. Honestly, for me, BA is still looking bearish, right? We have taken out the fair value gap on the month. We are down. We are approaching a rejection order block, a bullish rejection order block. So we may bounce off of that. But right now, at every single time frame, with the exception of the 4 hour, which is currently inside, um, yeah, we looking bearish. We do, honestly. We went outside weak. Um, yeah, but what I would also just be aware of is that I'm pretty sure we're at OTE levels as well too on the weekly. Let me see, change that real quick. Yeah, see, so we are, but again, like honestly, if I had to be a betting man, and I'm not, but I would probably say we're probably going to continue lower because we did have that bounce that that bounce, that relief run up, right, and then flipped it and came right back down. So we have made a new broadening formation on the daily. I don't know why my mouse keeps sticking. It's bugging me. Um, so we could see some exhaustion and potentially a reversal back to the upside. This could eventually be kind of a double bottom like play and then keep going back up. So I would not just listen to the news. I know there's been a lot of bad news out there about BA. Just make sure you pay attention to what the chart is actually showing you, not necessarily just what you're seeing on the news. And don't always anticipate that the news means one way because as the experienced traders will tell you that the news may say one thing, but the chart will tell you something different. I would say more times than not, chart wins out, and the news is just the catalyst to support what the chart is showing. Okay, now next thing. Let's take a quick glance at AVGO. Yeah, so we got shooter vibes on AVGO right now. This to me is probably going to be a retracement. AVGO is probably going to do exactly what it did over here in this area, right? Pull back. I know it didn't touch this line, but pull back to probably come back and potentially retest a previous high. It didn't do that specifically, but it did pull back. Even what you're seeing over here, right, on the 3 day, right, came back, pulled back, retested a previous high, and bounced off of that. So essentially, that is the move that it has been making. Why won't it stick? Hold on. There we go. Right. So potentially that's what we could see here, right? We could see the pullback to 1150 potentially next week. And then that's probably be the area where I'll probably tell you, hey, y'all might want to start thinking about calls again if I start to see it reverse. Um, Personally, I kind of have not traded AVGO, not because I'm worried it's not going to keep going up or whatever. um, it's at all-time highs. There's exhaustion risk, and this thing eats up a lot of theta. Like if it doesn't go in my direction, like that contract could burn me quickly. So I've just kind of been sticking with more short setups. But yeah, if this thing triggers to the downside tomorrow, you can probably catch a nice run. I'll probably say target maybe the 1200 call or something like that. And then yeah, go from there. You know what I'm saying? But it just looks like you're seeing a little bit of exhaustion on AVGO. But with all that being said, larger time frames are still bullish. So again, and then even on the year, you have on the year long term, you have a rejection block stacked on top of an order block, stacked on top of a structure breaking fair value gap. So I'm still ultimately bullish on this, but I would love to see it pull back a little bit first, maybe sub 1150. For me to maybe grab the 1200s and go from there. That's how I would want to play it. But again, y'all do you. It's okay. Adobe, because I know people have been watching that as well too. So Adobe real quick. Yeah, Adobe looks like, it's still looking strong. I know we had a pullback from the highs today, but still cleared the high over here, still cleared the high over here. To me, unless we have a drastic pullback in the market or there's drastically bad news about Adobe, it looks like we're wanting to do that TTO either this week or next week. The 630s are definitely still in play, in my opinion. We're hammering on the week. The 4 hour ended as an inside hammer as well. Like, yeah, to me, um, still looks good. Still looks good. As a matter of fact, when you look at the larger time frame, let me show you real quick. Let me just. Um, did I have it marked out? So okay, so this is all-time highs, if I'm not mistaken. Why are you not? There we go. This is all-time highs, right? 699.54, basically 700. I think we're gonna see, as long as tech is still bullish, I think we're gonna see Adobe go for all-time highs. It's been basically, if you really think about it in tech, it's been basically like line up who wants to hit all-time highs first, right? So I think that's exactly what Adobe's doing. This was used to be resistance, and now, as you can see, price has been slowly kind of eating through that. So I think honestly, the 700s, if you want to, especially if we take the month up, right? What I would do is let it take the month. It's probably going to come back to retest that same level before bouncing up higher. And at that bounce is when I would say probably look at the 700s, for I'd probably say March. Give yourself a little bit of time. I know it's probably going to be expensive as hell, but I really think that's what we're seeing here for Adobe. I think we're eventually going to see those all-time highs. With that being said, I don't think SPY is done either. Um, Unpopular opinion, I think SPY will probably eventually get north of 500 before we see the real pullback. Just my opinion. So yeah, just throwing that out there. Don't hold me to that. Don't come for me. But that's after looking at the charts and everything. I think that's a good psych level as well too. So yeah, just throwing that out there. Okay. With that's Adobe. What else have y'all been looking at? Oh, AMD. So AMD with the major pullback today. But when you really look at it, you know, we actually still ended, if I'm not mistaken, we still ended in force, or maybe just a little bit under. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I know it's pulled back after hours, but let's see how the market opens. Um, yeah, weekly still looking strong. So if anything, this is just a pullback. Honestly, it's not. I wouldn't really count this as a reversal. Now, the last high, that this would be the high that probably would come back and get tested. Um, Let me see. Yeah, so that's the last high after the TTO. So, I mean, obviously that's a lot of room to come back, but you also have some fair value gaps along the way. So I don't think, actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the 3 day. My apologies. My bad. What the hell are you saying, Kevin? This is the last high that, got TTO'd and pulled back. So this is probably going to be the one if it drops back. I think it is somewhere around there. Last time I looked overnight, it's probably like a little bit lower. So if we start the day off lower below that, I wouldn't be surprised if like bulls start buying it up at that point. Again, unless there's some really bearish news that came out about AMD that I'm not aware of. Um, I think this was just to grab that liquidity and maybe trap some shorts, possibly. So what I would say is tomorrow or next week, I'll probably say, now that it's dropped down to, 175, 170-ish, you could probably go for the same calls y'all went for this week, the 180, the 185, the 190 if you're feeling froggy, and then go from there. All right. Um, what else? What else? What else have you guys been looking at? Let me check the chat real quick. 1 second. So we got PCE tomorrow. So if that is bullish, I would say we're probably going to run. Definitely, probably like just straight gas, no brakes whatsoever. Let me see. What has Sal been talking about? So let's see if we can pull some of that up. Oh, oil. Yeah. So Sal was talking about CVX, right? Let's see if CVX still looking good. Oh shit. Yeah. Man. If y'all have focused on oil today, y'all. Whew, bangers. Look at that run up. Holy crap. And there's still room to go too. I mean, ICTers, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think liquidity would be up here. Buy side liquidity would be up here on the daily, all the way up here. So, whew, yeah, definitely some room to run. Y'all should chart this out for real, because it's not even close to TTO and back to the upside. If it does TTO, yeah, that's that 154.35 that would need to be taken care of. So, absolutely, this is. Mm-hmm. Also, I would say look at crude oil futures. If that thing's looking bullish, yeah, I think CVX and XOM and MRO and Oxy are definitely looking pretty good over the next couple of weeks for sure. Okay, what else? Ford, of course. I know, I know that's not flashy enough for y'all, but holla at Elytra. She know what it's about. There's a reason why we trade it still. Um, for Ford, I'm seeing the beginnings. Not We're not there yet, right? I'm seeing the beginnings of a potential reversal. I mean, contracts went back up to 40-some%, and we're just inside day. So there's definitely still room. We're inside week as well too. If we can end up going a little bit more hammerish on the week to end the week, like yeah, I'm really liking this for sure. I can definitely see Ford back at 12. I can see Ford back at 13. Hence the reason why I got into the 11 and the 13 call. I actually was thinking about grabbing the 12 as well too, but I decided not to overextend myself because I did get in the compound account, but then I also loaded up. No, not a full load the boat, but not a full port, but I did load up on I think I have about 60 contracts on the 13 call. So yeah, even if like I think I bought in at like $7 a contract. So even if that thing gets to like 50, what I'm saying? Like that's gonna be lovely, and I gave myself until March. So this is gonna be really lovely to see, especially if we caught it early, we caught it during the run up. Looking at the daily, I would say that buy side liquidity is up here. You do also have a high, sorry, buy side liquidity up here. You also do have another high that would need to be tested as well too at 1205. So yeah, definitely some room to run. I mean, this is a PMG setup to the upside as well too over here. And as you can see, not all targets have been taken out. So yes, there will be resistance along the way, which is kind of why Ford is always kind of like a set it and forget it type play. Um, I don't even really like look at the chart itself. I'll like check in on it from time to time, especially if I see the contract moving in my port. But for the most part, not really. I'll come back and look at it and like, oh, okay, you're doing good. Then also, if you can see my broad information down here, we are at the bottom of broad information. So yeah, like I said, there's definitely some room for Ford to run. And this is essentially what you look for with the strat, right? Especially when you're trying to go long, you want to catch things at the bottom of a broad information because the risk for reward is better, right? You're starting at the bottom, and especially if you give it time, there's going to be a lot of room to run. Speaking of catching it at the bottom, Tesla, right? I'm not saying to jump into Tesla tomorrow, but yeah, Tesla is on sale. I mean, I don't know if you haven't been paying attention to TIG, even me, I've been dropping hints like Tesla under 200 is a sale, right? We know it's not going anywhere. We know this, right? I don't mean to get on my soapbox, but we know it's not going anywhere. So yeah, I'm just saying that should always stay on your radar. And I guarantee you, even after I say this, even after you see TIG grab 500% off of it, or Sal do 300% off of it, you're gonna be like, somebody's gonna say, "Oh man, I missed that." You've been warned. You've been told. All right. It's the same thing with snow. We've been dropping hints long time before we like even entered, right? So pay attention. I know I'm not giving a specific call out, but keep it on your radar. Set your alerts. All right. Because we want to see all y'all win. So I know it sounds like I'm fussing with you, but I do want to see all y'all win. I kid you not. Like one of the things that I've been loving this past couple of weeks is the DMs that you guys have been sending me, showing me how well you've been doing. You know what I'm saying? Like that tells me you're listening. That tells me it's working. right? That's the big thing. And I'm not talking about the main ones that we talk about in the chat, like Dr. D. Some of you have sent me stuff like that. Stay quiet in the group, but been sending it to me, and it's like you guys are listening. That tells me you're listening, and it's great that you're winning and that you're succeeding. I would love, like, I really want by the end of 2024 that you guys, whoever, like, however you started 2024, you have elevated at least 3 levels higher than that. Okay. So anyway, that's Ford. What else we got? Let me see. What else do y'all talk about? Actually, let's take a quick look at NVIDIA real quick. Yeah, so NVIDIA is pretty much the same as AMD, right? What you have is the run up. Shit, that's actually a power of 3. Shit. Um, Man, that sucks. I completely missed out on that. But yeah, so anyway, and honestly, I'm not sure that Nvidia's done. I think this is a bold ass statement, but I think Nvidia's probably gonna try to hit 700. I do. I really, really do. Obviously there's gonna be pullbacks along the way, but it's on the year, it's sitting on a stacked order block, rejection block, structure break, and fair value gap. Um, yeah, I don't think Nvidia's done. I don't. Um, we'll see what FOMC brings, but I don't think Nvidia's done. All right. Okay. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else do you guys look at? We did AMD. I'm gonna leave the cues to Sal and I'm gonna leave Spy alone to Phil and Jay. They're the real experts on Spy, so I'm gonna leave that alone. Um, Let me see. Hold on. Oh yeah, SMCI. Because you guys, like, I know some of y'all still in that. So larger time frames, SMCI is still looking bullish. Just be careful on the daily. We got the same, like, we exhausted around the same area, like, so what happened is if you look at the daily, we did take out this high, came back to retest and ended up lower than that. And we tried again today and rejected again around the same area. So you may see the pullback tomorrow, potentially, right? And again, I mean that, just pullback. I'm not saying reversal. But it was not able to clear this high. Now tomorrow we may come back to retest it again, and then that'll be telling. If we come back to test it again and it fails, I honestly would probably start thinking puts on SMCI into next week. At least a pullback probably to hold on one second, let me draw this out. All right. Oh wait, the hell is there you go. At least until the 50% of this fair value gap, or I'm sorry, first the top of the fair value gap, which would give us 410, or the 50% of the fair value gap, which would give us what's that, like 372 or something like that. So yeah. All right. Anyway, I'll be back on a little bit later, but I just wanted to create this video real quick, drop it, and then yeah, go from there. All right, y'all. Have a great night, and I'll see y'all again around 10.